brought you the news. Printed the info, we gave you the clues. Owners' profits were always sky high. Changing market now threatens our lives. Post-literation, critical reading, dumbed down nation, signs have been breeding. TV sucking ideas from our head. Public discourse just about dead. We'll ride the dinosaur. Yeah, ride the dinosaur.
Hey everybody, it's Eugene Driscoll. Welcome to Valley Navel Gazing, the Valley Indies podcast. ValleyIndy.org is a nonprofit, independent, nonpartisan, pretty cool website. I already gave the URL. We report on news and stuff in the lower Naugatuck Valley. My host is reporter Ethan Fry.
Co-host. You're the host.
I'm not going to.
Eminently.
I should probably stop.
No, let's just do it live.
No,
man.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. It'll be like in the old days when we first started this, or this version of this podcast where we do it in New Haven on WNHH 103.5 LPFM live, and constantly be messing up the
It's been
first.
a long week, man. It's okay.
The first. That is, yeah. We're recording this. It's Friday, July something.
21st.
July 21st. So we had this week nominating conventions, political caucuses, Derby Republicans, Derby Democrats, Seymour Democrats, Ansonia Republicans, and Ansonia Democrats. On top of all that, last night we had 3 conventions alone, last night being Thursday. This is going to broadcast on Monday on the radio and valleyindy.org. In addition to the 3 conventions we covered last night, we had some, I learned late that there were issues with one of the nominating conventions, the Derby Democrats. There were 2 candidates who wanted to be mayor there, and they voted to choose one through secret ballot, which is a no-no according to the state rules of the Connecticut Democratic Party. So now, as we record this, it's 3:30, and at 5 p.m., I'm scheduled to listen in on a resolution hearing happening between all the parties involved. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, it's Mayor Delgado is the 2-term incumbent there, but the majority of the members of the Derby Democratic Town Committee opted to endorse Carmen DiCenso. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on. It's a very different year this year compared to previous years in the Valley. I mean, it's always lively, but I feel like we've already had the election. I'm exhausted. I stayed up to 2 in the morning. You were up for a while. We worked all day yesterday, started early in the morning. And it's never ending. So,
Well, as we saw in Derby, these nominating conventions are mini elections in and of themselves, and to a lesser extent with the Ansonia Aldermen's nominations, there were a few changes there as well.
And what I'm gonna do right now, Ethan, is just not to interrupt you, but I'm gonna hit send on this Facebook status update, and we'll see if we can get some people to call in and share their thoughts. If you're listening to this on the radio right now. This is pre-recorded, but we can get people on. All right, here we go. Publish. I should look at it first. Want to talk Derby, Ansonia, Seymour political races? We're recording a podcast right now. 203-446-2335 to share your thoughts. All right, boom. We'll see if anybody wants to call. But maybe we should start. Let's go alphabetically. And so let's start with Seymour.
Go reverse.
Ansonia. Ansonia. What's the story there? We got Mayor Cassetti, popular mayor, very, very tough to beat. Let's be honest. It's he is a heavy favorite going for what, his 3rd term? I'm confused.
3rd term, which they say would be a record. They say no.
How is that a record for?
I haven't gone through like the history, but they say no Republican mayor has been elected to 3 straight terms. Obviously, the Democrats have a registration advantage. I'm not exactly sure how much. Roughly, I think 2 to 1 in terms of just like political voter registration.
Let me take care of that. That's the police scanner on my own
scanner,
thing.
yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, Cassetti won in 2013, his 1st term, and then really blew out his challenger when he was first up for re-election in 2015. So we'll see. Yeah, like,
Was there
it'll
anything,
be,
like walking in, was there anything, you always try to think these things can be very repetitive, and you try to some extent as a writer reporter, and now that we've been around for a couple of years and have some experience covering these communities, and we live here, and our office is in Ansonia, did you have a particular angle you were anticipating walking in, and did it live up to that, or no?
Not really. I mean, like when an incumbent is renominated, it's pretty, it's not really, if there's like a challenge or something, yeah, obviously that's newsy, but there wasn't in this instance.
But we were thinking, and we can actually play a clip of some of we were thinking that possibly maybe, I mean, there's a rift, or at least there was a rift between Phil Tripp, the president of the Board of Aldermen, and Mayor Cassetti. There's sort of almost two
like rival factions within the Republican Party. Yeah,
but they got along. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody supported. There was no other nominations for mayor. Everybody, Cassetti was nominated. Afterward, Mr. Tripp said, he wasn't looking for the nomination or anything. That's something that there's been whispers about in the past and rumors and everything. But he said no. He endorses, or he's supporting the party slate. There was
Before you do that, let's play a clip of Phil Tripp talking to you, Ethan, last night, which was Thursday, July 20th.
20th, yeah, and it starts out with a discussion of 5th Ward Alderwoman Joan Radin.
Oh yeah, that was
who
newsworthy.
The Republicans didn't renominate. They chose to support Chicago Rivers instead, and her fellow 5th Ward current Alderman Joe Yauman. We've reached out to Ms. Radin. I haven't heard back about whether she plans to primary or not. But
you called her yesterday.
Yeah. So the beginning of this clip with Phil Tripp is me and another reporter, Mike Mako, asking about what he thought of the whole situation of how Joan Radin wasn't renominated.
Here we go.
Hi, Ethan.
Were you talking about Joan?
Yeah, we good?
You said she got the highest vote total outside the 5th Ward. What ward?
No. Outside the Hilltop. The Hilltop votes more than anybody else. But in wards 1 through 5, Joan Radin received the highest number of votes of anybody running for alderman in wards 1 through 5 2 years ago.
Now, if she decides to primary or run as an independent, will you run? Will you campaign with her at all?
I am supporting the endorsed slip. I am supporting the Republican ticket. I am supporting the endorsed slip.
When everybody got up cheering Mayor Cassetti's nomination, you were slower to rise than most. Or were you hoping to be nominated?
No, not at all. Not at all. I do not covet the position of mayor. I do not envy the mayor.
I mean, you guys have you and the administration have butted heads on various issues in the past. I think it's fair to say.
Right.
So was that just a reflection of that, or?
Let me put it this way. I have been a lifelong Republican. I think I did the math. I've been a Republican for 41 years. I am supporting the Republican ticket. The mayor is leading our ticket, so of course he has my support in this upcoming election. Obviously the mayor has a lot of his family here, a lot of his core supporters are here, so maybe they were a little bit more energetic than I am. But as I said previously, I am supporting the Republican ticket.
All right, very nice. Good job, Ethan. So the other thing or aspect or news you asked about during the convention there in Ansonia, Republicans nominating Mayor Cassetti again, was Mayor Cassetti's brother was nominated for
the 3rd Ward. This last time around, the Democrats only had there are only 2 representatives on the Board of Aldermen currently are in the 3rd Ward, and the Republicans didn't challenge them last time around. This time around, the Republicans did nominate 2 people, Dominic Filippone, who wasn't there last night, and the mayor's brother, Joe Cassetti. And I talked to Joe Cassetti after the convention. just talking about a little bit about his background, and then
Well, he was arrested.
Yes, yeah, he was sent to prison in 2011 in connection with a marijuana grow operation on Root Avenue.
And there's stories.
And
that,
we have links to that in our in that story.
So you approached him.
I asked him about that just because obviously I think that would be
public definitely has a right to know, and we wouldn't be doing our jobs unless we asked that question, as unpleasant as it may be. But obviously he knows he has the conviction. He knows he's taken a role in public office, but he handled it. He didn't get angry or anything, and he totally answered your question. And here is that clip right now.
Were you a former alderman?
Yes.
You were alderman before?
Yes, and I was on both sides, both teams.
Democrats and Republicans?
And Republicans. I initiated as a Republican, and then I went Democrat, but now because my brother has been a Republican, successful for the last few years, I jumped parties again.
And did you resign when you had that difficulty with the federal drug case?
No, it was years before that.
Okay. And then just in light of that conviction, I guess, you've paid your, I don't know if you went to, you got probation or something? I don't know what the details
No,
were.
I paid my debt to society, and I would say this about that. Lessons learned.
Congratulations.
When you learn a lesson from somebody else, you tend to not put too much value on it. When you learn a lesson by yourself and you pay the price, then the learning sticks. So I would say that I learned a lot.
I just wanted to get that response.
We get it out of there, because listen, as far as I can tell, there's a felon in at least every family. So, throughout the country.
Yeah.
It's not like we all come to the altar like virgins.
Okay, that was Joseph.
Joseph,
Cassetti?
Cassetti,
that's it. Cassetti, sorry. Cassetti. I'm really tired, folks. I apologize. So that was that. What about, I had seen, I was doing a separate story on, I'll get this out somehow. I was doing a separate story on this Derby thing where the Republicans keep hammering Mayor Delgado on this 10% tax increase. And actually it originated, the first place I saw it was on the Ansonia Republican Facebook page.
Right.
And I was taking that, embedding into the story I'm working on, and then I saw in the comments section there was a back and forth between Vinnie Scarlatta, a Republican and a member of the Board of Education, basically saying, why is the Ansonia Republican Party sticking its nose in Derby? So that's further evidence of that rift. Is he running again? Is he?
Yeah, he was. He wasn't there at the convention or the caucus, whatever you want to call it, last night.
Yeah, I know we probably got that wrong all week.
He was.
Sorry, Rick Dunn. He'll correct us.
Mr. Scarlatta was nominated by Bill Nimmons, the president of the Board of Ed, who was there. I'm not exactly sure how that whole the Board of Ed nominations went, because it was right after the mayor's speech, and I had asked the mayor to go outside briefly to take a picture of him. When I got back, Mr. Scarlatta and Areta Cotalis, both of whom are current Republican members of the Board of Education, were renominated, and I don't think there were any challengers or anything like that. So judging from Mr. Tripp's comments, which we heard earlier, there seems to be an effort within the Republican Party to at least present a united front for the next few months in terms of this November's elections, regardless of what differences they have among themselves.
And I guess it says something. They have their disputes in public, pretty much. I mean, it's not like they get in there and are completely quiet during Board of Aldermen meetings. If they have something to say, they'll say it. So that's that. Yeah. Anything else? Did Mayor Cassetti's speech? Did anything jump out as particularly newsworthy or surprising? Or
no,
I mean,
the
vibe
it
is they
it
know.
was basically when you're a two-term incumbent, you run on your record, and he said, look at my record. Taxes have not gone up 3 years; they've gone down slightly.
Did he use the word slightly, or
no,
is that you?
That's me.
Okay.
the grand list has
Doesn't
grown
sound like something-
modestly. That again, modestly is my term, but it has grown since he took office. And as he pointed out, Farrell is still in Ansonia. It's not exactly a Republican. Oh, we got a call. Saved by the bell there. So
Yeah, where were you going with there? I was getting a little nervous.
well, I mean,
Let's see.
I'll
Wait,
pick
hold
up
on.
on that. I'll return.
Valley Independent Sentinel.
Hey, Eugene, it's JR.
Hey, JR, are you calling for this talk show we're doing right now, or are you calling just to talk about news?
Talk about news.
All right, wait, hold on. I got to stop.
Did you want me to do the talk show?
Well, we had just put out a call on our Facebook page about something else. But wait, hold on. Let me turn this off for a sec. All right, so we're back on the air there. The air. We had, look how cool we are. I'm going to leave the beginning of that JR. JR Romano just calls us out of the blue. We're power brokers here at the Valley Indy. He's the chairman of the state Republican Party.
Yeah, I had said earlier the Ansonia Democrats have roughly 2-to-1 numerical advantage. 3,169 registered Democrats, 1,563 registered Republicans. Those numbers were given to me yesterday by one of the registrars of voters. Of course, unaffiliateds outnumber them all. There are 4,024
Everybody.
of them. And 124 others. Like, I don't know.
Let's segue.
Greens or something.
Let's segue. That was J.R. Romano just calling just to clarify something. And speaking of like the state Republican committee over in Derby during the Derby Republican meeting, Republican Town Committee meeting, and during which they endorsed candidates for offices or for the municipal slate in November. They had Chuck Pyne there. He's the
he was at the Ansonia Republicans too. Woodbridge resident, state treasurer for the state.
I believe so. The state, the
Republican
state party.
Party.
And he was saying like, hey, the National Republican Party wants to flip Connecticut. They think they got a really
Malloy.
good chance to get rid of Malloy. So he's saying that means we're going to have more money, and that's going to trickle down to you. To the locals. So I'm getting texts from my wife. There's a lot going on today. I got another text here. I don't even know what this is. Who's this? All of the drinks. I don't even know what that means.
That was in response to our solicitation for calls.
And there's another. I got another text. This is just crazy. But anyway, so it's the Republicans are really. Oh my God. So the Republicans, at least in Derby, that they're feeling their oats. Is that even a thing? They're feeling energized right now. They sort of like the fact that there is some infighting going on the other side, and the Democrats are sort of going at each other's throats. And there's this mistake or not mistake that happened during the Democratic nominating convention, so it makes the Republicans look good, perhaps. But here's a clip of Chuck Pyne talking in Derby to local Republicans.
If you've been reading the paper, you'll see that many of these folks who already announced have already pulled in $100,000 or more in donations. There is a lot of money in Connecticut that wants change, and to see that much money coming into the Republican fold this early on is very encouraging. What I'm going to ask everybody to do, from although we obviously have a local favorite, whoever our candidate winds up being, and as the group sort of winds down, please do not take your marbles and go home. We've got to stay united as a party, as voters, as Republicans, to get the Democrats out of the governor's mansion.
And the other thing I did talking to Derby Republicans, I asked, oh no, I'm going to have to say her last name, and I don't know how, so I'm going to throw it to you. You think I would know after all these years?
Oh, Judy?
Judy, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's her first name.
Szewczyk,
yes.
I believe, yes.
I was asking Judy Szewczyk, who is the chairwoman of the Derby Tax Board, and she had run Mayor Steferi's campaigns in Derby. He was the mayor when we first started in 2009. Is it good? Are you guys? Is this really good news for your candidate, Rich Zekin? This infighting that's happening with the Democrats, and her answer is surprising. Because and what I love about our local politicians and local residents is that people talk, like they're not afraid to share their thoughts. So she says it could be a double-edged sword, and I'll play that clip for you right now. the Republican Party?
If they primary each other, it helps us a bit because they're going to be criticizing each other. And that always helps. That's on the positive side for us. On the negative side, it gets them more into the news. It's all about them, and we're going to be kind of back here in the back. And
They get to dominate it. What about, I was assuming, okay, if they go at it and really beat each other up, isn't that how people jump ship and try? Do you think you can pick up any potential converts?
No, they're just taking sides. They don't like her style. Some of them just don't like her style.
And that's it,
She's not a
okay.
group, she's not a team.
And as you said, a couple, there's been, some of these, I don't know if you want to call them conflicts or what, little hiccups or whatever. It's done out in the open at these caucuses we've been attending so far. I don't have, vast political reporting experience, but in other towns I've covered, in Brookfield, for example, they have the nominating caucus and they kick the reporters out, and then once they've hashed out everything and have a slate, they invite you in and say, all right, here's the slate, we're all united.
Yeah.
But it's good to see, some of the sausage made,
Yeah.
for lack of a better
And that was the
cliche.
thing. If anybody outside of the city of Derby, during the Derby Democratic Town Convention, the issue there, the complaint that was raised by one of the members after the meeting was that they voted by secret ballot. But it wasn't. The entire thing was public. They, everybody was there. People made speeches for Carmen DiCenso. People made speeches for Anita D'Agato, and then they, wrote whoever they preferred on a piece of paper and just dropped it in the box. And according to my interview with Linda Fusco, and this will just keep in bear in mind that by the time this publishes Monday, we'll have a completely new story on this. So everything I'm saying right now could change or could be old. But Linda Fusco said the issue was that they didn't have the people voting sign their votes. So very interesting stuff in Derby. But yeah, it wasn't like it was secret in that no one was there. I mean, I videotaped it. There's pictures in the Connecticut Post. There were 3 reporters there, 75 people in the room. It was all very open. And the same thing with the Derby Republicans. And I left this out of my story. I didn't think it was really, I don't know, I just thought it would go on a tangent and confuse people. But, the Derby Republicans had a couple of names walking in. They had a couple of names that were sort of scratched in as maybe they'll nominate this person, but it all depends. They could show up and somebody else says, "Well, I want it," and then they'll say, "Okay." And one of them was Tom D'Onofrio, who was 2 years ago unaffiliated, but he ran on Rich Zekin's underticket for alderman, and he was voted in. But he has now left Zekin's ticket and has gone to Carmen DiCenso because they've known each other forever, both football coaches at Derby High and all that, so they have a history. So they had to get somebody else in there. But I thought it was commendable that the Republican Party, they could have said, we're going to have a closed caucus right now. If you're not a registered Republican, you can't be in this, and then we're going to hash it out like you had just said. So they didn't look like they were unprepared or something like that, or like one of their people was jumping ship. And then the other interesting thing is, I had talked to Sam Palastro, the Republican Party head in Derby, and there's no ill will towards the Republicans or D'Onofrio. They said, hey, he came and he said, I've known this guy for a long time, and it's nothing against Rich Zekin, but I'm going to do this. Which brings me just to another thought, a pundit-like thought on the Derby race. I mean, I live in Derby, and I think it's exciting this year because you really have 3 candidates who want to be mayor. If Anita D'Agato didn't want to be mayor, she would just step aside at this point. She really wants the job. So, and I think if you look at what being a mayor is in Derby and Ansonia are challenging cities. It's not like all glory. You know what I mean? It's not like whatever. So I think she wants the job. And then you have Carmen DiCenso, and I'll play a clip from him now, but I had asked him, because he was always the name out there. There are a couple of names you would hear, like Vin Tanucci was another one. These guys, these names that are come down off the mountain and run for mayor, and that'll be it. They're going to win. And DiCenso has been a name that has been thrown out there for a couple of years.
He's
like,
been the highest vote getter among the
yeah,
Board of Aldermen.
Yeah, it's been rumored every single election.
Politically popular person.
For like, you know, the last 3 election cycles, his name has been floated. And he was considering it. But I asked him, you know, why now? And he says, you know, he's had 6 years of training. So that says something. And here's a clip from Carmen DiCenso where he just says what I just said. Sorry.
So I know in years past you were always kind of the dark horse out there. Carmen's going to run, DiCenso's going to run. What spurred you this year? Because I know you had considered it strongly in years past.
I didn't want to run when I didn't know enough about the city. And now that I'm on the boards for 6 years, I learned what I needed to learn, and I thought it was time to run. And one of the major problems I have is I don't believe Anita has the support in the party to beat Rich Zekin this time. And, that's
based on the last election.
Correct. And that's one of the major reasons why I'm running.
And then you have Rich Zekin, a retired Hamden police officer. He's interesting too. I think he's similar to, he wants the job as well. He lost the last election by 112 votes to Mayor Delgado, right, in 2015. And he immediately takes a job in City Hall. And I really think, he had said, that was said, we're going to groom him. We're going to show him the ropes of government. And you first hear that, you think it's kind of, that's just something they put on a press release. But I think it's true with him. He went over there for training to get an idea of constituent work and the inner workings of a city hall. So I don't think he had to do that. He is getting criticized. It hasn't published yet, but I have a letter from Carmen DiCenso's campaign saying, Rich Zekin, you abandoned Derby for Ansonia. You could have been on our WPCA and you chose not to. You could have done volunteer work, but instead... And that's another very interesting thing that's happening in this race, which we've never seen before since the Valley Indy launched in 2009. There's this Derby-Ansonia interplay happening, which is sort of the Trump-Russia stuff we're seeing, where you have the Ansonia Republican Party, in a way, is exerting their influence to some extent over Derby. They want Zekin...
initiated some controversy on a Facebook post, right? And about the
Well, I mentioned that earlier. What they had said, the Ansonia GOP had pointed out that Derby taxes increased by 10% last year. They had a 3.6, the tax rate increased by 3.6 mils. And Ansonia, I skipped over the Ansonia Democrats. They've got a veteran of this podcast, Tarek Razlan, is running for mayor. And I was sort of bummed out, and like I said, I am tired. It's Friday, but I was. The comments on our Facebook page were getting a little. I thought it was. I was surprised it was getting a little ugly so fast.
Yeah. Within hours of the nomination,
it's it seemed like a lot of people didn't even know who he was. But he sucks. It's whoa, wait a second. The guy, let's not forget this isn't. Yeah. Trump versus Clinton. We're trying to. This is your neighbor, a new guy to the city, trying to. And obviously, I think he'd probably be the first to say his chances of winning are not good, just based on the fact Ed Adamowski was a name last time. He was known in Ansonia, and Cassetti is popular. You can't deny that, but you can't let's demonize a guy right off the bat just because he's putting it out there. And we had a great. I posted it on Facebook. He was on our podcast immediately after the election. When Trump beat
with
Clinton.
Kurt Miller, first selectman.
Right. And it's like you had Kurt Miller had one point of view, Tarek had another point of view. You and I don't share the same political beliefs. So you had 4 people sitting around a table just talking without yelling at each other or insulting each other. And that's my hope. I'm already a little drained because there's already been a lot of negativity, not just in Ansonia, in Derby too. I just hope, our goal is to
smears. We've already gotten some.
We've gotten a whole bunch of a whole bunch of just anonymous stuff that the weird thing about having a potential primary happening in Derby is now all these stories are shaking out from, it's one party against itself. So I've got all these stories. I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to get to this.
Yeah,
Suddenly everybody's talking.
Yeah.
Everybody, hey, did you hear this? I know, yeah, you kind of kept that away from, but I hope just, we want to see Derby and Ansonia succeed. I just hope people can offer solutions. I think that's appealing. I think it's probably now more than ever, that's what we need on the local level, is not just necessarily say why the other person is incompetent, but what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to address the problem? I think that's needed. So I know as a voter, I'd respond to that.
Yeah, and it's a cliche to say this, but I've voted for members of different parties like all my life. You decide who the best candidate is, but it seems that there's a point of view where these municipalities can only move forward if there's one party with hegemonic control of everything.
What is that word?
Domination of politics, and it's work together, and that's a cliche too. To say can't you work together?
Or at least it doesn't have to be. There's that famous scene from Conan the Barbarian where I think it's the first time Schwarzenegger speaks in the movie, when he's at that point, he's just a trained fighter, he's a trained killer, and they're like, what's your mission? And he's like, to crush everybody. He's got that. I should probably look it up. But it's it's sort of hilarious. But it's not about, you don't have to necessarily eviscerate your competition on the local level. Scorched earth. You don't have to do that. Yeah, it doesn't.
And it's one thing to we all have our opinions about national politics, but that's Washington. We all in a tightly, closely knit communities like this. It's
And here's the danger.
That sort of attitude.
Here's the danger. On the local level, it's on a much bigger scale. But when you start burning bridges and hurting people locally, people walk away. You might have somebody who could do some good for a community, have some new ideas, and they're not getting paid for it. They're volunteers. And we've had this used against us when we hit somebody for not following state law, like with the FOI and stuff. And we, as a reporter, probably 10 years ago, it never mattered to me. It never. But we try to be human too. But my point is, if you're so mean, you think that people say the media is negative, but we have a draw here of the things that we receive. There's a lot more negativity. It could be you haven't seen negativity, but it drives people out of community service, because I think people walk away. And I think we've seen that over the last however many years we've been around. I think there's some people that were very good for their community, got involved, and then just decided,
this isn't worth the hassle.
Yeah, I got a couple of, why am I going through this? And they walk away. So hopefully it can be constructive. So, and it can do a lot of damage, especially in places like Derby and Ansonia, where you're it's been a long time trying to get the downtown developed in Derby. I think one thing we can say for sure is that, if you have one party in and the other's just obstructionist, nothing happens. It just is that stagnation. So
we haven't gotten any calls, but a couple comments. Chris LaRoque, probably mispronouncing that, sorry.
I think it's LaRoque.
LaRoque
I have
says,
no idea. I don't know.
At work, can't call. Can we discuss the latest on the Downtown Now project? Also, the 31-year-old mayoral candidate. Fresh blood is sorely needed in politics at the local level. He also says new projects like vibrant urban downtowns can't be designed for by suburban baby boomer voters. And I think the Downtown Now, is that
that's the mayor's, DPZ
Partners in Derby.
Yeah, and that's the thing that
the new urbanism.
Right. That's a whole initiative that's been heavily funded by grant money, by state grant money. And Derby brought in DPZ Partners, this nationally known firm. They did these charrettes, the series of public meetings where the people said, well, what do you want to see downtown? And basically, it's a mix of retail. They want to have a downtown grid in the redevelopment zone down there along the south side of Main Street, between Main Street and the Housatonic River. They want it to look sort of like Greenwich Village looked back in the day, that type of feel. I haven't been down in Greenwich Village, like the West Village, in 1,000 years. But anyway, that's sort of the vibe they're going for. As part of that, the Route 34 expansion is a separate project. But right there, So the consultant from DPZ sort of locally famously said, at least, in this room, the Route 34 design is lipstick on a pig. She convinced the public that, I think, she made a persuasive argument there. The Route 34 project up to that point had been far along. It had come along in the Stafari administration, the Valley Council of Governments, now the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, and the state DOT had this thing that was going to start whenever. It's hard to get always start dates. But anyway, the DPZ at the end of the Downtown Now thing, and it's still underway in terms of the zoning regulations. It's still moving forward. It resulted in Mayor Delgado sending a letter to the DOT asking for tweaks to the Route 34 widening, which the state sort of came back, and Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments came back and basically said, this was on a previous podcast that we published in an interview with Rick Dunn, the executive director of the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. Well, that's going to extend the start date a bit. So that's that. Now the Republicans, that's the mayor. The mayor's saying, I'm going to invest a little time here. We're going to get a good project.
Yeah, and
then you have the Republicans are saying, you're out of your mind. We need to start this thing. It's been a million years. Let's go. But
the backstory, of course, is that prior administrations of both political parties brought in different developers and said, here's the master plan. We're going to have here it is.
Didn't happen.
And all of that fell apart.
Didn't happen.
So that I think the mayor's position is, unless I'm misinterpreting it, is she points to those failures and says, let's take our time and do it right. The Republicans obviously say,
yeah, and you'll see
pick it up a little.
And you'll see comments. I think we talked to Sheila O'Malley, the Ansonia Economic Development Director, prior to
former Derby.
She was the Derby. Yep. She had been involved in
the last redevelopment.
A lot of it, with Eclipse development, and they had a plan, and nothing happened. And prior to that, there was Ceruzzi development, and then there was a lawsuit, and the city had to pay $3.6 million, I think it was. Yeah. So, but my point being, Sheila O'Malley had said, you don't need to spend all this money to know that you're going to have a mix of retail. You're going to have a mixed use project there. It's not. So there's definitely different opinions there. And you're right. I think Mayor Delgado was saying what we've done in the past has not worked. And she also has pointed out that in terms of economic development, Life Touch is sold. And that developer, Shelton guy, apparently...
Salemi.
I don't know how to say it. Yeah, that's why I avoided it. Sorry, we're not... But he has plans.
With somebody with a track record of development.
Yeah, so he's in there. He owns a property. He's got... what is it? Hay in the stakes in the game?
Skin in the game?
There we go. So anyway, that's that. Oh, this has to be the most boring podcast we've ever done.
It's fascinating. We've the Facebook. I don't know. I think we're being throttled. That should be why we're not.
Well, it's 4:00 as we record this on a Friday.
577 people reached.
If we really committed to local news, we would have done this at 8 p.m. where there's actually people on Facebook. Because right now it's people are on the highway. The afternoon drive is starting early. People are trying to get out of the DMV and Derby. Apparently, it's the road warrior there. They got Mad Max.
And that's, I don't know, the last time I went to a DMV.
And let me just say, what happened today was they're talking
very
about
hot. Yeah,
it was hot, and I guess unbeknownst to me, the Derby DMV, it's only open 2 days a week. It's literally a closet. It's not a full service DMV, but it's mobbed now all the time. Now they're talking about closing it temporarily, and the state has confused me on that one. But today was so hot, there was a line out the door into the train station, and people were dropping. The EMS got dispatched there twice, and the TV covered it. And here's a little thing, inside baseball thing, people. This morning there was a report of a plane possibly had crashed around Oxford Airport. So all the TV vans came running.
They were already here.
By the time they got here, it took about an hour, because I was listening to, and credit to the Oxford Fire Department. That's all I could hear on the scanner. There's probably others. But they were, boom, they get a report of a plane down. A bunch of volunteers are searching the woods, trying to find wreckage. That's what's going on.
8:00 in the morning.
Right, yeah, and just all over. They were everywhere. Credit to Department Chief Scott Pelletier. But anyway, it turned out to be nothing. The plane did a touch and go, whatever the heck that is, and landed in somewhere else. And so you got all these TV guys around, And suddenly everybody, they had their scanners going because they're listening to where the fire department is. I don't know if any of this is true, but it's got to be. Suddenly they got, somebody's down at the Derby trains. Oh, let's go. It's a DMV. Oh, and now that's how news happens. All right. Is there anything else you want to add? I don't know. I'll probably never, I just might kill this one. I don't know. I kind of do this every once in a while. But at least we didn't get angry and badmouth anybody. We just come across like we're not too condescending, I don't think.
No, not at all. Looking forward to covering the elections. Yeah. So, some parts more than others.
All right, that's it. This is Eugene and Ethan from valleyindy.org. Goodbye.
For hundreds of years we've brought you the news. Printed the info, we gave you the clues. Owners' profits were always sky high. Changing market now threatens our lives. Post-literation, critical reading, dumbed down nation, signs have been breeding. TV sucking ideas from our head. Public discourse just about dead. We'll ride the dinosaur. Yeah, ride the dinosaur. Our readers are in the opens each day. Online clickbait a prurient way. It's free information here to stay. Not even hookers give it away. Advertising, metastasizing, newsroom shrinking, constant attrition. We'll ride the dinosaur. We'll ride the dinosaur. Dinosaur. Deadlines, bylines, pictures too. An editorial comment for $1 or $2. Fire down the block, the murder next door. And now we wonder what it's all for. Social media coming free to you, funny pages, the mayor's wages, criminal seats, corruption schemes, ink state wretches asking tough questions. We'll ride the dinosaur. Yeah, ride the dinosaur. The presses are running all through the night. We're printing the truth with all of our might. We're platform agnostics, got that interweb too. Buy an ad, see what we can do. We still have subscribers, still have our fans. We're here every day, so give us a chance and we'll make an art stand. Just hold us in your hand and we'll ride the dinosaur. Yeah, ride the dinosaur. Dinosaur.